evening, everyone. It is 6:30, so we're going to get started. I'd like to begin by welcoming you all and thanking you for turning out tonight. We'd like to just ask an informal question, that is, how many of you have had the chance to benefit for somebody in your family from Eastside Friends of Seniors before? Raise your hands. Go ahead, don't be shy. You can't hear me? Otherwise, I think you can hear me now. Right. That has rarely been a problem, and it's, as my wife normally reminds me, you forget your voice carries. Tune it down a little bit. So, but again, welcome to all of you. If you couldn't hear me before, how many of you have had an opportunity to benefit for somebody in your family or circle of friends from Eastside Friends of Seniors? Raise your hands if you have. These are ambassadors, and I'm one holding up my hand as well, that can tell you about the wonderful work that's done. How many volunteers do we have here from Eastside Friends of Seniors? Raise your hand. Let's have a big round of applause for each of you. The work that you do, the friendships you generate, the meaning you give to life is utterly amazing. You make a huge impact. So thank you, each and every one of you. We'd like to introduce some elected and candidates for public office that I understand are in attendance tonight. Karen Howe, a candidate for the Sammamish City Council. Karen is here someplace. Karen, thank you for joining us. I understand a candidate for the City Council is also here, Amy Lamb. Amy, where are you? Raise your hand. She's here someplace. She's probably bidding on something, but in any case, let's have a round of applause for Amy. And I understand, I've not seen her here yet, but Issaquah Mayor Mary Lou Pauly is here as well. There. It's so hard without being able to see the lower half of people's faces. Thank you, each of you. Is there anybody here that's in public service representing their communities that we've missed? If so, raise your hand. If not, again, thank you, each and every one of you, for all the work that you do. I'm serving as your MC tonight. My name is Jeff Renner. Somebody said, you look like that guy that used to do weather. That's because I am the guy that used to do weather. But it's my pleasure to be here and be serving as an MC for this wonderful event tonight. The wine, I've said there's two things that do not mix, and one is a microphone and the other is a bottle of wine. And so I will sample something later, but I understand we have some wonderful representatives and some wonderful wines. So let's have a round of applause for all the people that are staffing the tables here. So we are gathered here tonight, as we alluded to before, to raise funds for a great local organization, the Eastside Friends of Seniors. This evening you have the opportunity to support that group by both bidding on the silent auction items and by making a generous donation. We'll talk about that more in a moment. A little bit later, we'll ask you to raise a paddle. Have you ever been to an auction before where they've done raise a paddle? I bet you all have. We're going to be doing that later on as well. For those of you that are here in person, you have the opportunity to support Eastside Friends of Seniors two additional ways. One is the ring toss over here. I was observing that. That does not look easy. But they are, for obvious reasons, closing that for the moment. But as soon as we're done with our program, they will resume that. So if you haven't gotten a bottle of wine that way, that's another way of generating some donations for Eastside Friends of Seniors. And the other is to just purchase outright a bottle of the favorite wine that you've been tasting tonight. The wineries, as we understand, are also donating a portion of their wine sales to Eastside Friends of Seniors. And by the way, I should say I see two cameras. There's one up here, fortunately not over my shoulder, but if you work in television, you become very aware of where are the cameras because you know they're always on. The microphone you always assume is on. There's another one up there. We know a lot of you are from at home and watching, and that you're going to get an opportunity to bid. So everybody turn and look at that camera, and a big wave of welcome to everybody that's at home. We thank you for joining us too. I can understand that some of you may have elected not to come tonight because the power was threatening to do that same thing it did not that long ago. There are some wonderful silent auction items. There are vacations. There are wine tastings. I took a look. There are Italian dinner baskets. Those looked really good. The Sammamish Farmers Market basket. And there's a wine refrigerator over there. I'm of that generation that somebody said, we've got a really good item. And I said, what's that? And they said, it's an Oculus. I didn't know what that was. And so for those of you that are sort of in between those generations, don't feel bad because I'm admitting it right now. But that's a great item as well. And they're having more and more things come out in virtual reality. Has anybody been to the Vincent van Gogh show yet? They do virtual reality there too, and that was pretty cool. So that's a really fun item. If you haven't bid on that, take that opportunity. Remember, all the bidding is online. That means those of you at home, those of you up there, have just as good a chance as getting a winning bid as anybody here. If you don't have a bid number, you can visit the event site and click on Register to Bid, and you will have immediate access. And it's very easy by going to the website, look for that Register to Bid. Those of you that are with us this evening, if you need assistance with bidding, look for our volunteer, Michelle. Michelle, where are you hanging out? In the back, okay. You can see her bouncing up and down and waving her hand. Michelle will help you get that bid through. So lots of people here that are here to help you, to make it a memorable evening, and an evening, most importantly, to help support the all-important mission of compassion that is Eastside Friends of Senior. Paul Reed Financial Group is this year's presenting sponsor. We're deeply appreciative of Paul and all our sponsors who support the work of Eastside Friends of Seniors and who made this evening possible. Unfortunately, Paul is not able to join us in person this year, but he is here via video, and so let me direct your attention up here for a message from Paul.
My name is Paul Reed, CEO and founder of Paul R. Reed Financial Group. I'm sorry I cannot be there tonight. I've got 3 stories and 1 request, 1 ask. Let me start with the stories. First of all, I wanted to kind of introduce you to Rose and Arnold. You see, Rose and Arnold are clients of ours. They began planning with us in April of 2005. We looked at their retirement feasibility. They were retiring from the Boeing company. And they retired in 2007, in September, actually, at age 62 and 69. Their retirement goal and activities they wanted to do, they wanted to do some traveling. They wanted to take their family and grandkids to Greece. That was their home country. They had some really lofty goals and did a lot of that. In fact, I'm going to tell you a story about that, is they did take their family to Greece. Grandkids went there for 5 weeks, and they were most proud of this. They said, the grandkids said, they told me this was the trip of a lifetime. Well, it turns out, just had a meeting with them within the last 2 weeks. They're now in their late 70s and early 80s. And it turns out that Rose had been diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2019, and Arnold had been diagnosed with cognitive impairment the same year. Well, it turns out they're not doing so well at this point. We had a meeting, talked about their housing options, what was to be next for them. They reside right here in Bellevue. And what they talked about was, we talked about continuing care communities, we talked about assisted living, and talked about independent living. Well, their kids live in Eastern Washington and Michigan, so they're kind of concerned about doing some day-to-day activities, and they were comforted to know that Eastside Friends of Seniors is there to help with some of those daily tasks, whether it's a transportation to a medical appointment that they can't do on their own, whether it's changing a light bulb, whether it's just an outreach to connect them with some of the other resources in the community if they need that. So that gave them some options and some confidence in staying right where they're at for right now. Now we're going to work with them to see what the next stage in housing is going to be, but allowed them to initially and temporarily stay right where they're at until we talk about the next step. Well, let's go another story. Let's talk about Alice. Alice actually turned 89 October 28th of this year, so just recently. Alice, it turns out, had sold the family home in Olympia a short time ago. She was also looking at different options, but really committed to staying in a private residence. Well, she now lives on the east side in a private residence, and she, on the other hand, has family that's nearby. Family is really dedicated. She lost her husband a while back, so she's a widow. Family is dedicated to helping her, spending time with her, taking her to medical appointments, taking her to shopping, getting food and dining for her, and so forth. Well, it turns out that she was comforted in knowing that Eastside Friends of Seniors can be a backup plan for her. And I'll tell you something else, the family was even more comforted, knowing that if they weren't there, this organization was just a phone call away. Well, think about Rose and Arnold, think about Alice. Let me tell you about Bob. Bob actually is a client of ours. He retired from Boeing, and he's the one that introduced us to Eastside Friends of Seniors. You see, Bob volunteers in the transportation area. He's one that is called also a senior, so a senior helping seniors, but he's called fields to really provide transportation when it's needed for medical appointments. He was telling about Costco trips. But you know what he said? He said one of the biggest joys that he gets out of what he does. Yes, it's the assistance, it's the transportation, it's what is tangible. But one of the biggest joys that he gets is what is kind of intangible. He talks about the conversations he has while he's in the car and hears about the life stories of some of these wonderful individuals. You know, Bob represents, I think, the heart of the volunteer. You know, he's got compassion, he's got a sense of what's needed, he wants to help. And boy, he gets a joy out of just connecting with those seniors, and then you know what, the seniors do as well. So Rose and Arnold, Alice and Bob, you know, you all, I know, have your own stories and your own individuals. Think about how Eastside Friends of Seniors has helped them as well. And think about what a unique organization this is, because it has tapped into a really critical need that helps folks that really are unable to help themselves at this point in time, but have lived typically a very nice, wonderful life. Well, now, those are my three stories, and now my request, now my ask to all of you that are attending the auction tonight, the fundraiser, and those that are online. First of all, we're proud to be the presenting sponsor tonight. It's an honor. And I serve and lead, and I have for 35 years, a team of 12 dedicated professionals, certified financial planners, and attorney, and we work in the retirement area. We help folks understand the feasibility of retirement. Can they retire? What's the timing? We help them plan their income. How much income can they take? How long will the money last? We also help them understand the estate strategies that are necessary and some of the insurance areas, such as Medicare and Medicare supplemental. We have a suite of post-retirement services that we've carefully designed in pretty much all phases of post-retirement planning that we have as a provision and a suite of services for our clients. So I really understand the need for this and understand the need of this kind of service that this organization provides. Well, may I ask you something? If you're here tonight, I know you've got a soft spot for this organization. I know you've been helped by this organization and know of folks that have. You know, I'm going to ask you, if you're here tonight, to really give generously in support of the organization. I'm going to ask you also to be part of the auction and bid higher. And finally, those folks that are online, the same thing. And you know, I can also assure you, and you know this too, if you have a need of any sort, don't hesitate to reach out to Eastside Friends of Seniors, because they will be there for you. Well, folks, on behalf of Paul R. Reed Financial Group and myself, Paul Reed, it's been my pleasure in being with you virtually. I want to encourage you, and I want to thank you for coming, and please enjoy the evening. Take care, and God bless.
Well, we thank Paul very much, and we might mention as we go through the program, part of the wonderful aspect of getting together for something like this, and it's nice just to be able to get together like this, is to connect with other people that we maybe haven't seen as often as we'd like, but do try to keep the volume down a little bit so we can hear the important parts of the program that we're going to be doing up here. Paul mentioned how he had benefited from this with a family member. I did too. It was not the first that I'd heard of Eastside Friends of Seniors, but my mom had fallen and broken her hip, and fortunately came through that very well, but needed some rides because my work schedule was such that it didn't always coincide with the doctor's schedule. And so she made, yeah, they definitely raised the volume there a little bit, surprised me, but definitely took care of getting her to the appointments that she had. But I think beyond that, she made, and I'm sure all the volunteers here can speak to that, made some wonderful friends. And it had several different advantages for her. One was she called me up at King very excited one day. She said, "You'll never guess what kind of car I rode to my doctor's appointment in." And I said, Well, no, Mom, what kind of car did you get a ride in? She said, it was a Corvette. She said, I have never ridden in a Corvette before, but she said, today I have. And she said, I bet you didn't ride to work in a Corvette today. And I said, no, Mom, I didn't. So she was very happy. You're going to hear more from the person responsible for that. The other thing is, one of the people that helped her out, her husband was a federal prosecutor. And you know how we get those unfortunate people that will call up and say, we're from the IRS, you owe back taxes, and just give us some information and we'll take care of that and work out a payment schedule. Mom, even though she lived to be 93, she passed away a couple of years ago, she was not anybody's fool. And she said, oh, really? She said, you give me your name and number. I have a friend who's a federal prosecutor, and I'll have him call you back, and I'm sure you can work that out. And so she thought she was pretty clever about that, too. So you never know how you're going to benefit through this. But I can tell you the difference it made for our family, and I know of other people that have done the same thing. So again, my great thanks to all of you that have volunteered here through the years and are continuing to do so. At this point, it's my distinct honor to introduce the Executive Director of Eastside Friends of Senior. She took that job over in November of 2017, and her professional career has really been focused on serving seniors. Please welcome Executive Director Linda Woodall. Linda.
Thank you, Jeff. I guess tiny. So I want to thank everybody for coming today.
There you go.
Thank you, Beata. Okay. So obviously we've got great tech help today, and I will go ahead and recognize them in a moment. But for all of us, the last year has been a huge challenge, and it was never such a challenge as it was for our seniors. Our seniors, they were very dedicated to staying safe. They stayed in their homes. We altered our services so that we could help them be safe at home. We shopped for them and did porch deliveries. We did have clients who had medical situations that couldn't wait. So we worked with our volunteers to provide them what they needed to be able to safely transport our clients to needed medical appointments, such as, unfortunately, cancer treatments. And we have several who do eye treatments that without the eye treatments, the result is blindness. So we did all these things. We started a telephone friend program because social isolation is a huge issue for older adults, and 95% of the people we serve live alone. So it was really, really hard. And the best part, not a single one of our active clients caught COVID. And as far as I know, none of our volunteers did either. So that was just amazing. So thank you to everyone who helped make it possible. One of the joys of our program is that we get to meet these wonderful seniors in our community. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about one of our seniors, and her name is Allie. And Allie retired from volunteering as the pandemic hit. She was pushing 90. So she was matched with a client, so she was regularly visiting another person younger than her. And she would go to the grocery store for this client. And then Allie needed eye treatment, so 3 weeks a month she was a volunteer, and 1 week a month she was a client. So I will tell you that many times our clients become volunteers and our volunteers become clients. And it's this giving heart that our community has that really makes a difference. We could not do this work without our staff. So I want to take a moment to recognize our staff. So you've got to see 3 of them tonight. So Pooja is our data manager, and so let me just tell you the technical challenges of our data entry system. Well, it's not the entry part, it's a data management part, are significant, and we're so fortunate to have her. Many of you have seen Lori, and I think Lori's helping out at one of the wineries, so Lori, if you want to wave. She's here somewhere, yay. So Lori is our new client services coordinator. So when someone calls and wants to know about services, how do they become a client, Lori is their person. Lisa Varner, many of you met her when you came in the door. So Lisa is our superb volunteer coordinator who definitely goes above and below. Yeah, the volunteers love Lisa. So thank you, Lisa. And last but not least is Linda Marie. And so there's a lot of Lindas in our office. We're a tiny office, so I'm a Linda. Our bookkeeper's a Linda. And then our admin and events help is Linda Marie, because she had to have a separate name, right? So if you call the office and you say, can I speak to Linda? It's like, okay, which Linda? No, so I'm so grateful for her presence and for all that she does. And let me just say, the last week in particular, she has like really gone above and beyond to try to take care of all the things that we had to do. And so thank you, Linda Marie. Next, the wineries. I want to do a special shout out to the wineries that are in attendance today. Are you enjoying the wine tasting? I am hearing such great compliments, and so I hope you're taking advantage to purchase a bottle to take home with you. So I don't have these in any particular order, so as I call your name, if you'll just kind of wave. So, and my apologies in advance if I mispronounce the winery. Oh, so Sagillo? Sagillo? Okay, back there, okay. Soulstone? I just love that red. Now this one I'm going to butcher, so I'm going to need help. Is it Obelisco? All right. War Kings and Callan. So when you purchase a bottle of wine today, part of the proceeds go to Eastside Friends of Seniors. So you're doing good a second way, right? Now I want to talk about our sponsors. You had a moment to hear from Paul Reed, our presenting sponsor. It's the first year that we've presented that opportunity to have a presenting sponsor, and we want to thank him. But we have some other sponsors that are just, that we're just so grateful for. And most of them have sponsored our events in the past. The first one is Swedish. They're our gold sponsor. So, and there was going to be a couple of people from Swedish here. I'm not sure if they formally are here. I know there's actually one of the guests who works for Swedish. So anyway, so thank you. And then we go to our silver sponsor, so Family to Family Senior Care, and I don't believe there's anyone present. University House Era Living, so thank you to them. They sponsor our things on a regular basis. Evergreen Ford and Chevrolet, we had a representative who unfortunately just had to leave. Evergreen Healthcare, and I know we have a couple representatives from Harborstone Credit Union. So Chris, are you guys still here? Okay. So anyway, silver sponsors. Then I'm going to move to bronze. So our bronze sponsors today: Eastside Fire and Rescue Benevolent Fund, the Providence Point Kiwanis, RPM Systems, Master Builders Association, and the Sanders Coaching Team. Can I have a round of applause for all our sponsors? All right. So my ask to you is that if you're in the community and you see someone from one of these great organizations, would you just say thank you and let them know how much you appreciate that they are supporting Eastside Friends of Seniors? I want to take a moment to recognize the people who are helping us put on tonight's evening. How much of you are loving the food, right? Is that really good? So I want to say thank you to Cypress Catering for doing such a great job and making it possible for us to have food. Our venue sponsor is the Issaquah Highlands. They actually provided the facility as an in-kind sponsorship, so really grateful for that. Our production sponsor, Ursa Minor Media. So behind the curtain is Stephen and Beata Baker. Yep. So Beata's been a volunteer with Eastside Friends of Seniors, and so we appreciate their in-kind donation. And then want to give a shout out to Live Oaks, who is doing the live streaming, and everybody's just doing a great job. And then last but not least on this list, I want to give a shout out to Kristen, who is from Ducks in a Row, who has helped us pull all these pieces together as our event coordinator. So thank you to everybody. It is now my pleasure to introduce our board president, Don Sanders. Don?
See if I can get that a little higher. When I came here tonight, or when they asked me to talk tonight, they wanted me to talk about my why, and wasn't too difficult. Some of you know me from when I worked for the city of Sammamish, and I was a volunteer coordinator there. And we had a big windstorm right after I started there. Not the one of 1991, but Jeff might remember this one. It was another big windstorm, bigger than the one a couple weeks ago. But Eastside Friends of Seniors came to me and said, hey, a lot of our seniors need help right now. Can we please get some volunteers to help just clean up the debris that's in their yard? And of course, the Sammamish community jumped right on that, and we had a bunch of volunteers who came to help. But what I got to see was that one-on-one look of what was happening to these people that were living alone, and they were so isolated, and they just couldn't do the things that they were used to doing. Kind of reminds me of my grandpa when he was 85 and he finally realized, maybe I shouldn't be up making the repairs on my roof anymore because I'm a little bit wobbly. But it was that insight into the work that Eastside Friends of Seniors do and the connections that they make with the people that they help. Recently, one of my board members said to me, she said, Dawn, I was one of the volunteers who got to go deliver the goodie bags to seniors during the pandemic. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but for me, I couldn't see my mom, who's here tonight. I do get to see my mama now. But until we got our vaccinations and everything, right, we didn't want to be around those people in our community that were vulnerable. Well, one of these women that she went up to deliver the bag said, you know what, you're the first human I've seen in 7 months. I mean, if you just take a moment to imagine that, 7 months without having that face-to-face contact. I mean, at least I had my husband and I had my bubble that, we were all staying safe together, right? The people that we could see. But for some of these people that are isolated in their homes, they just don't have that. And that's another way that Eastside Friends of Seniors can really come and make a difference. My husband and I spent a couple years in Vietnam, and one of the things about their culture that I really appreciated is that the oldest child just knew it was their job to take care of mom and dad. Now, the nice thing about that is they also got the family home. But, it wasn't always a good thing, especially for the daughter-in-law that had to sometimes come in. And in our case, my sister Debbie opened up her home to my mom. So, again, Debbie didn't get the family home. Sorry, Debbie, about that. But, it's nice when you have family around that can help you with those things, and not all of us do. So, again, the work that Eastside Friends of Seniors does to kind of help those people that don't have family just makes a big difference in their lives. So, anyway, that's my why. That's why I like spending time and volunteering with Eastside Friends of Seniors, and I hope some of you are inspired, if you're not already a volunteer, that maybe this is something that you can do sometime in your life. But as a board chair, I have the honor of introducing my partners on the board. I really love working with these people. They're incredible and they do so much. The first one I want to introduce is Meredith Fromke. Meredith, you just raise your hand back there. Meredith is our event design person tonight. So beside being the vice president of the board, she was also the one that kind of had the vision for how this room looks and getting all the wineries here and all those odds and ends that you have to pull together. Next is our secretary, Jennifer Euler. Where are you, Jennifer? I just found out tonight, I didn't know this, but we're married to the same man. We're both married to John Sanders. I didn't know that. But Jennifer's been a part of the auction committee, helping me and helping Meredith, very quietly just getting everything done that needs to be done. And then our treasurer, Bob Toomey. I don't know where Bob went. I call Bob the entertainer because when he's not signing checks and doing those kind of things, he's in a band. And so if you've come to some of our events, you might have seen Bob's band playing for us. Some of the other members that are here tonight, Doug Eglinton is back there. Karen McGonaghy. Okay. And besides that, she drives Meredith's kids around. Tracy Fitzsimmons. There she is. Mary Digdon. And I messed up the last name. And it's Mary's birthday. Oh, and last but not least, I saved the best for last. My mentor, who's finishing up his final term on the board, Jack Berry. And not in attendance tonight, Karen Moran could not be here. She's our mayor, and she's been a wonderful connector for us. And Manuela Paul, who runs one of the senior homes here in Sammamish. So if you could just, a little thank you to all these people. I really appreciate all that they do. And I also have a really special thank you to two very special people. You might have heard him mentioned on Paul Reed's video, but the first person I want to introduce you to is Bob Brannigan. Bob, you want to come up here for a minute? Come on, Bob. This is the first time I met Bob in person. It's always been on video, so I had no idea how tall he was. I'm like, who is that man? But as you can see in the video, Bob started out as a volunteer for Eastside Friends of Seniors by driving people around. And he drove the clients around in this lovely car here, except every once in a while he would take his wife's sedan, and they were not really happy when Bob showed up and he wasn't in his Corvette. Bob was our former treasurer until him and his wife moved to Olympia a few months ago. So we want to thank him so much for all he has done, and we miss him on the board. Thank you, Bob. And we have a gift for you, but it got lost. Oh, there it is.
Thank you. Should I open it? Okay, good.
Just letting Bob know he doesn't have to say anything. And the other volunteer that I want to say, also the board member that's leaving us, is a thank you to Jack Berry. Like Bob, Jack started out as a volunteer driver, only he usually drove the clients around in his pickup truck. And I did get to ride in his pickup truck a couple times. For some reason, the pickup truck didn't make the picture. I don't know why. Jack will have completed his second term on the board, ending his tenure as a board member. Jack has been so helpful with Eastside Friends of Seniors, especially when it comes to any strategic planning, our development, and especially finding incredible board members. Thank you, Jack. And we have a gift for you, too. Yeah. I'm not going to tell anybody this, but Jack actually got me my job at the city of Sammamish. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's a secret. Thank you. Two more quick little thank yous. First of all, well, maybe three. First of all, to all of you for bidding on auction items, for being here tonight in the rain. We really appreciate that. For buying wine and drinking wine, please continue to do that. Support these wineries. It is Small Business Month, right? Support small business. And, but mostly especially to the auction volunteers, to the committee that pulled it together, and for all of those volunteering tonight, and all of those that donated, all of you that donated to the silent auction. Thank you so much. And then one last thing, just to put in one little bid, well, besides reminding you guys when Jeff gives the okay to raise your paddle, raise your bid, but if you are considering volunteering, either as, volunteer for Eastside Friends of Seniors, or maybe you'd like to be on the board, please talk to me, any other board members or talk to any of the staff here at Eastside Friends of Seniors. We'd love to have you guys join the team. So thank you. And I'll give it back to Jeff.
And thank you very much, Dawn. We're going to share a short video, and so this is one of those important times that just share that opportunity to share with other people and converse with them a little bit later, because we want you to get a sense, for those of you that aren't intimately familiar already with what Eastside Friends of Seniors does, a chance to see some of the services that EFS provides. You will note that Jack, who you just met earlier, is one of the featured people in this video. So let's roll the video.
Well, my name is Mary Coyne, and I have been involved with Eastside Friends of Seniors for, let's see, about 3 years now.
I'm Leo Healy. I have lived here off and on for all my life. But
I had been driving with Eastside Friends of Seniors probably for about a year, and you go through and you pick the names, and I saw Leo, and I remember thinking, I like that name, Leo. So I thought we'll give him a try. And I think the first time, Leo, I think we went to Barnes & Noble.
yeah, we always went.
Yeah, we always went to Barnes & Noble.
My name is Jack Wishart. Sometimes in some circles I'm known as John Wishart, so it causes a little confusion at times, actually. I don't know how it happened, but I've lived to 92 years of age.
I'm Richard Issaquah, and I was born and raised in Hawaii. I've published 3 novels and my memoir. I've been in Washington State twice for a total of 21 years.
I'm alone now, and I enjoy having people visit me and do things with them whenever possible. But I love to walk, and I love to be with people. I enjoy being with people that enjoy the same things that I do.
Leo he's an avid reader. I mean, he's read everything. It's fascinating. And I love to read as well.
Quite often we could stop and have coffee, so we had a little social contact as well as as well in the business in hand. We've done a lot of weeding and dug up a lot of plants as well as weeds and so forth like that. They spent a full day here. It was first class, actually, as I say, and they didn't seem to resent it, actually, so here was I still fairly active, actually, as I say, and they didn't seem to resent the fact that they were doing my work that I should be doing myself.
What helps me the most is when people come and visit me, because I'm a people person.
We've done shoe shopping, clothes shopping.
Yeah.
Always we like to get coffee, stop and have coffee and chat, and we get into lots of fun discussions, don't we, Leo?
We even argue politics.
Oh yeah, we argue politics, but we won't get into that today, Leo.
They provide the same attention, service, and concern to other clients as they do to me. And for that, I'm very grateful, and I appreciate it very much.
Eastside has just been wonderful. I cannot thank them enough. I cannot imagine not having known you and being acquainted with you.
Everybody was very good, but I found them extremely helpful, actually, very sociable, and they were here when I needed them, which was the main thing.
I hit the jackpot.
I did.
So you get a sense of the gratitude for that connection, which is what we all learn very unexpectedly, perhaps, just how much we need from, what was it, March of 2020 through all too recently. So wonderful work that goes on with this each and every day. Before we close our program this evening, and we're not really closing the program, Ring Toss is going to resume. The silent auction is staying up until 7:30. So you can still bid online. Those of you watching from home, you can still bid until 7:30. But we do have one major task, and yes, I think you can still sample wines, right? Is that right? Okay, yeah, I see some thumbs up. We have one last task to take care of, and that is to ask for your support in a very important way. You know the service that is provided from Eastside Friends of Seniors. Requests for services are far exceeding the pre-pandemic numbers. They're maxing out, simply put, the staff's capacity to take on new clients, and the area served continues to expand. So let me see your numbers. Can you hold those up for just a minute? Exercise those arms. Okay. As one announcer used to say, let's get ready to rumble. We're not going to rumble, but we want to hear from you and see from you. So we're going to start with raise the paddle. You know how this works. We're going to start with $1,500. So people at home, you can bid too. Do we see any numbers going up for $1,500? There's 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Any others for $1,500? Let's go to $1,200. That's $100 per month. I need to say the bid numbers. Okay. That wasn't in the job description. I'm glad to say that. Okay, we have 158, 116, 109. Okay, now we'll go to $1,200, just $100 a month. Who's willing to bid on that? Who's willing to support for $1,000 for a raise a paddle? I see 197. Do we have any others coming up? 139. Thank you very much. Any others? Okay, let's go on to $1,000. That's about $80 a month. Do we have any bidding for $1,000? Raise your, and those of you back home, go ahead and enter your bid in as well. $750. Do we have any bids for $750? Go ahead and raise your paddle, raise your number if you have that. $500. I see 154, 147. Do we have any other numbers coming up? Those of you again at home, go ahead and register your bid at this time. Okay, next would be $500, and thanks to the generosity of one of our generous donors, we're able to double the first 6 donations of $500. So your $500 donation becomes $1,000. I see 157, 108, 199. We have 3 more that would qualify for doubling. Do we have any more coming up? Going once, and of course, those of you at home, if you get in next, you'll be getting doubled as well. $250. Do we have any bids for $250? 104, 134, 146. Do we have any others? This again for $250. $100. Okay, I see 125, I see 103, 127, 143, 192, 124, 164, 102, 163. Any that I didn't call out? 107. Any others that I don't see showing up here? Okay. And $50. Do we have any bids for $50? And you can bid more than once. Do we have any for $50? Raise your number if we have a raise a paddle bid for $50. Well, we thank each and every one of you for your generosity, your sharing, your bidding, and supporting of Eastside Friends of Seniors. We'd like to thank each of you for being here this evening, in person, or those of you that are tuning in. Get your last-minute bids in on the silent auction item. It closes at 7:30, and I'm showing we've got about 16 minutes yet to go. And that's the tough thing. It used to be you could hover over and see if anybody was going in to write their name on it. It's a little bit harder to see that, but between your computer, your smartphone, go over there and double check it. We've got some great items on there. And for those of you that are here, there's more wine, and there's more appetizers, and there's more ring toss. So thank you so much for tuning in and turning out tonight. And again, thank you very much for your support for Eastside Friends of Seniors. Have a good evening. Drive carefully.